Today, my colleagues and I would like to discuss a couple of important things. The first question I want to ask Alexander is, as a company like Nornickel, I'd like to hear about how you came to the fact that you've matured, how you realize you're ready for cyber insurance. Can you tell us about that journey?
Yes, I'll start with the fact that our company has a fairly high level of maturity for its corporate risk management system. And since 2018, we've been conducting quantitative risk assessments for key and significant systems. This is a difficult process that involves a lot of departments, but it has huge value in the end. The result is seen on our bottom line, and this is clear to any top manager. With results in real figures, as a cybersecurity team, we see cyber insurance as additional protection for the company's shareholders and investors in the event of a cyber incident. Secondly, cyber insurance is a tool that works. We see this in successful cases abroad, and we decided to become one of the first in Russia.
Great. This really is one of the first, maybe even the very first in Russia from the point of view of industrial companies. Armen, from your point of view, from the point of view of the broker, as the consultant who acts as the link between the customer and insurance company, how are things in general on the market, the Russian market, in terms of cyber insurance? Because in 2016, it was way different. Has anything changed?
A lot has changed, of course, since 2016, and more importantly, since 2022. I'll start with something realistic. In general, there are a lot of problems on the market, but there's some good news too. There are probably three positive things. Number one, despite the fact that we've lost access to foreign markets, which used to be the main source of capital for us, and capital in insurance is everything. It's our lifeblood. The Russian market managed to fill it, and mainly the government as a daughter of central bank. It's a reinsurance organization that's been on the market since 1917. Few people have heard of them, especially outside of insurance, but this company exists and was founded a long time ago, right on time, and the market was ready for it, and the state allocated quite a lot of money for it so that not just cyber insurance, but the insurance market in general stayed stable. So we saved capital. Number two, the product itself, by unhooking, let's say ideologically, from our reinsurance markets, from Western markets. The product continued to develop and adapted to the Russian market. It ceased to be a mere copy. We stopped working by constantly looking back on global practices. We took all the best from them, but we adapted to our reality here, especially as concerns industry. Here's a little example. Classic cyber insurance looks at cases that don't involve cyber physical losses, and the most important thing for industry is probably cyber physical losses. These are the most important and catastrophic scenarios. So here the insurance market has adapted, so these catastrophic scenarios with large sums are ready to cover as part of classical types of insurance, as part of property insurance, for example, and interruption of production that most of your businesses have. That's where part of cyber risks are migrated, and it's good news because it really helps us cover huge sums. Number three is probably that there are multiple insurance companies on the market ready to do this. They are quite flexible, and to get the right solutions, you just have to work with them correctly.
Right. There aren't some kinds of copy-paste products like when you buy motor vehicle liability insurance, people pretty much know how much it costs, the kind of car, mileage, how you drive and all that. But here it's like custom tailoring.
Any product for industry is custom like that, except mandatory insurance. It's all custom and requires adjustment, if not creating something new.
Got it.
Practically from scratch. I think it's the same with cybersecurity systems.
But in general, Alexander, when you started talking with insurance companies, with a broker, can you share the difficulties you had? Are there any major key issues you'd like to share?
Yes. First, what Armen is saying is true, that Russian insurers didn't have the opportunity to reinsure themselves in the West. It affected our market capacity, the low probability risks with huge consequences for the company that not everyone was ready to insure. It's great that this issue is being solved now, but we had to deal with it, and despite the fact that this problem was solved, some of the insurers in our case changed along the way. The second point is the inability of insurers right now to audit the customer's information security, which for the customer is okay because the process is simpler. But we as a company with a mature information security framework calculated it to see the reduction in cost, but in our case there wasn't any. But I think it's a question of market maturity.
If we're talking about cybersecurity or even more broadly about information security today, it's a question not just for cybersecurity specialists, right? Armen, can you also share from a cyber insurance perspective, it's most likely a working hypothesis, that cyber insurance is now a question not only for the finance team or risk managers, chief risk officer or chief financial officer, right? This issue is a little broader, right? The question is a little broader.
Absolutely right. Plus, for everyone, it's not just some kind of participation of everyone in cybersecurity. It's the direct benefits that this product carries. Besides the obvious business protection and everything else, besides these things, there are also direct benefits that simply help the cybersecurity team in their work. And we don't just have chairs for you today, we also have a slide. I made it for myself, but I'll share it with you. The 3 main benefits that cybersecurity specialists get. Firstly, the insurance market has a huge library, vast experience working with industrial incidents. The library is hundreds of years old. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about the cyber-physical world, where subsequently they're really in the physical world, and cyber is just an entry point, another way to disrupt the technological process that's further developing in the physical world to one degree or another, regardless of cyber. These scenarios should be taken into account. This library is worth considering to create scenarios, assess risks, or supplement the scenarios you already have, enriching them with scenarios you haven't seen from the perspective of cyber risks, but you'll see them with this assessment using insurance expertise. So what does this give? It helps those who haven't already done it even better translate risks into money and get additional investments in cybersecurity. That's not so bad for the cybersecurity department. The second is experience and the ability to formulate right and improve response and recovery plans. Here, the key word is business. So not the technological processes, and especially not cyber processes. This is exclusively the zone of cybersecurity, but the business in general, because the influence is wider. This is where this expertise really comes in handy. Use it, take it, get more from it, learn from it, and so on. Finally, cyber insurance, if a company has it, will help cover expenses you'll incur at the incident stage. You won't need to ask for money. Reserve money in advance or think where to look for it, or use it from your own budget you were going to spend on security, but now you have to spend it on investigation, to clean systems, restore them, hire a consultant, and all those things. These 3 things I think are extremely useful, so use them from the insurance world.
There's one more question. Alexander mentioned before that during negotiations with insurance companies, they didn't take into account an audit of information security or cybersecurity. So not just the state of information security and IT assets, but the processes. Here, Armen, I guess is a question for you. From your point of view and experience, how much do these things affect the price of a policy? If a company during some kind of express audit shows data to an insurance company like we have this and that protected, we have implemented processes, we have implemented cybersecurity products here, how much does this affect the cost of a policy?
It's not just an impact on cost. There are a few issues with cyber audits. A problem number one is that if it's not already been done, when you start talking to the insurance company, the question is always who pays for it, and everyone starts saying not me. It really isn't very fun. It's useful, of course, but it's problem number one. If you resolve it, that's problem number two. Alexander said it right. Insurance companies don't know how. It's not their expertise to read and understand the technical components of security. Some intermediate or mixed competence is needed. People who understand both cybersecurity and business and can translate it into simple language, the language of how low or high the risks are, how they've changed with the introduction of certain measures, and explain to the insurance company what's changing for them. In your case, they just couldn't understand what's changing or the conditions they initially proposed. It seemed to them that the picture wasn't improving in any way. They already see it. Maybe they presented it positively, and the report only confirmed this, but the situation can be completely different. What we need to work with, we need to show it conditionally, the before and after, try to translate it into the language of numbers, processes, to show what's happening in compliance, personnel training in general. It's still a question of risk assessment, how it's changed.
I see, okay. Well, now the final blitz of questions and recommendations for you. What could you say to your colleagues in the industry or just industrial companies in general? How should you approach cyber insurance? A few examples. Where to start? Alexander.
Well, first of all, the most important thing is to assess the most critical impacts for the company and the consequences of cyber influences. As we said, right now, there isn't a one-size-fits-all policy. You'll have to work with insurers about policy options. To do this, you need to clearly understand what you want, what consequences are most critical for the company. The second point is that you need to take into account the nuances of Russian laws in the field of cyber insurance. Let me give you an example. The policy doesn't cover expenses like regulatory fines that result from an incident. The policy won't cover expenses like ransom, where you pay attackers if your infrastructure is encrypted. There are a lot of these nuances, and you need to study them in advance.
Advice number one, listen to what Alexander says. This is probably the most important piece of advice. Tip number two, Volodya, we've been on stage all day today, in the hall and behind the scenes, communicating, listening and talking with specialists, with various experts in cybersecurity from industries and so on. And I keep hearing the same complaint. Development always fails to take security into account. They write something, then it has to be protected. This is what I want to tell you all about cybersecurity. Don't make the same mistake you criticize others about. Learn how the insurance works, what benefit it will bring you, how to make it work for yourself. Insurance is a complex product, a complex decision, but extremely efficient and flexible enough to customize to your advantage. That's what you should do.
Super, wonderful. Friends, thank you very much. Thank you. We got down right on time. I hope this was helpful.